In the shadows of post-war Poland, one Marian apparition was nearly erased from history. Hidden beneath the weight of communist persecution, the events in Mazury were silenced, witnesses were threatened, and sacred signs were destroyed. Yet despite every attempt to bury it, the memory of these apparitions survived in the hearts of the faithful. Many would later call Mazury the Little Fatima, because just like at Fatima, there were prophecies, calls to prayer and repentance, and even a miracle of the sun witnessed by thousands. This is the forgotten story of Maria Boguń and the messages that echoed through one of the darkest periods in Poland's history. On June 6, 1949, on the Feast of Pentecost, 14-year-old Maria Boguń joined a pilgrimage from Mazury to Basilica and Monastery of Bernardines in Leszczyk, one of the great Marian shrines in Poland. During the crowded pilgrimage, Maria became separated from her group. As she wandered lost among the people, a mysterious woman approached her, gently guided her back to her companions, and said only 3 words, "Tomorrow I will come to you." The next day, in a quiet village pasture, the same woman appeared once again. This time she revealed herself as the Mother of God. Over the following days, Our Lady appeared several times in the meadows and pastures around Mazury. Her messages were simple, yet urgent. She called the people to love one another, especially within families and among neighbors. She asked for penance, forgiveness, reconciliation, and prayer. In a special way, she requested the Rosary, the Litany of Loreto, and the Litany of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. She also spoke about future events and warned that if the nation refused to return to God, terrible punishment would come upon the people. Maria described Our Lady as barefoot, with dark hair and a rosary in her hands. She wore a snow-white dress beneath a long white cloak trimmed in gold that covered her head. The visionary said the Mother of God radiated extraordinary brightness and joy. At one point, Maria asked how the Mother of God spoke Polish so perfectly. Our Lady answered, "I fell in love with the Polish language very much. If people are faithful, I will spread the Polish language to the whole world." The messages also contain startling prophecies about the future of the Church in Poland, long before these changes ever happened. The visionary spoke of Holy Mass being celebrated in Polish rather than Latin, of the Eucharistic fast being shortened, and of Our Lady spiritually visiting homes throughout the nation through a sacred image. There are going to be great changes in the Church. The Holy Mass will be celebrated in Polish and not in Latin. The fast before communion will be shortened to an hour. People will join communion a lot, but they will be 10 times worse than they are now. There will be great atrocities. If people will not humble themselves, there will be the 3 days of darkness, terrible suffering. No light will shine, only sacrificial candles. Mazury will be partially destroyed. All countries and cities will collapse. For the next 10 days, every evening around 6 o'clock, Maria would make the sign of the cross and suddenly fall backward onto the ground. Eyes remained wide open as she spoke with the Virgin Mary in Latin for nearly an hour, despite never having learned the language. Word spread quickly through the surrounding villages, and soon, crowds gathered daily to witness the extraordinary events. On June the 15th, Maria was taken by the police for interrogation. Yet before 6 in the evening, the authorities returned her to the pasture where nearly 5,000 people were waiting. Immediately after the apparition, many witnesses reported seeing a miracle of the sun similar to the famous event at Fatima in 1917. The sun appeared to swirl and radiate different colors across the sky. Alarmed by the growing excitement of the crowds, the police fled the site. The following day, according to police reports, nearly 10,000 people gathered in the pasture. A priest named Father Godash arrived to investigate the events, and after questioning Maria, he told the people there was no miracle and that the girl had invented everything. Yet the people refused to leave. Instead, they continued to gather around the young visionary. What was happening in Mazury deeply disturbed the communist authorities. At that time, Poland was under the harsh control of Stalinist rule, and any powerful expression of faith threatened the regime's efforts to spread atheistic communism. By the second half of June, the Polish United Workers' Party, together with the Security Office and the Citizens' Militia, launched a fierce campaign against the apparitions. Before dawn on June the 17th, Maria Boguń was arrested once again. She was released only after signing a statement promising never to return to the pasture. The authorities forbade anyone from visiting the apparition site, and Maria's family was threatened with deportation to the Soviet Union. These threats were very real. Across Poland and the USSR, thousands were imprisoned, tortured, and killed during this period. Unable to gather at the pasture, pilgrims began visiting Maria's family home instead. Although the apparitions no longer continued there, many believed the visionary still possessed the gift of prophecy and came seeking answers and spiritual guidance. A priest later visited Maria to examine the apparitions more carefully, but after hearing some of the Virgin Mary's messages, he rejected them and even destroyed the notes he had taken. Because of this, much of what was revealed in Mazury was never properly preserved. Still, one prophecy remained deeply remembered among the people. The Mother of God had foretold that she would one day visit every home on earth, though many would reject her. Later, many connected this prophecy to the nationwide pilgrimage of the miraculous image of the Mother of God of Częstochowa throughout Poland between 1957 and 1980. That sacred journey became a symbol of resistance against communist oppression and often led to clashes between believers and state authorities. Then, another remarkable event took place at the apparition site. Overnight, a myrtle bush suddenly appeared in the pastures where Our Lady had stood. While villagers gathered in church for the local feast day, agents of the security service came and burned the bush to ashes. Maria later instructed the people to gather the ashes and scatter them over their homes and fields for protection. As many followed her words, a deep hole formed at the site, and from it emerged a spring. Almost immediately, people believed the water carried healing powers. Pilgrims erected 2 crosses beside the spring, turning the pasture once more into a place of prayer. But the authorities returned again. They spread rumors that Maria was mentally ill and accused the family of inventing the apparitions for money. Toward the end of summer of 1949, the communist authorities ordered the crosses removed. According to local accounts, those who carried out the destruction later died suddenly. Fear spread among the people, and without further apparitions, pilgrimages to the site gradually diminished. The events in Mazury became one of the earliest examples of the communist regime using systematic repression against Marian apparitions. The state blocked access to sacred sites, used physical violence against believers, arrested witnesses, spread propaganda, and mocked the faithful in an effort to crush devotion. Today, many remember these apparitions as the Little Fatima, a hidden chapter in Marian history that reminds us that even in the darkest times, heaven still calls humanity back to prayer, repentance, and faithfulness to God.